Imagine waking up and suddenly realizing the biggest obstacles in your life, your procrastination, your tendency to self-sabotage, and that nagging feeling of wasted potential, have never really been about external factors. It is not about time, it is not about luck, and it is certainly not about motivation. The real fight has always been inward, and at the center of it all is discipline, but not the surface-level discipline that reminds you to hit the gym or eat a salad. This is something far deeper. The kind of discipline Swiss psychologist Carl Jung spoke of, the kind that calls you to confront your inner chaos, not as a punishment, but as a form of radical ownership. You see, what Jung revealed was this: true discipline is not about rules. It is about integration. It is about becoming whole by facing the parts of yourself you have buried, denied, or quietly pushed into the background. And once you recognize that, everything changes. Jung was not handing out life hacks. He was issuing a spiritual and psychological challenge, a deep invitation to face the unconscious forces shaping your life without your awareness. If you have ever struggled to keep habits, focus on your long-term goals, or stop falling into the same old patterns of self-destruction, this video will help you understand why. But it does not stop there. We will uncover the powerful mechanisms Jung identified, the ones that explain why you resist, why fear runs deep, and why laziness is not always what it seems. And by the end, we will share a final insight, perhaps the most important of all, one that can make discipline feel natural, even necessary. So do not click away. Stay with us until the end, because what you're about to hear could reshape the way you live your life. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and leave your thoughts in the comments as we go. This channel is not here to just give you information. It is here to shift how you think, act, and see yourself. Let's begin. Carl Jung's work was not abstract philosophy. It was a direct exploration into the human soul, shaped by decades of clinical experience and a relentless pursuit of inner truth. When he spoke of the shadow, he was not theorizing. He was exposing the hidden roots of why we sabotage our own progress. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I just need more motivation," or "I will do it tomorrow"? But tomorrow arrives, and the same paralysis holds you back. That is not laziness. It is a part of you, unseen, unheard, that is resisting growth. And unless you face it, you will stay stuck in that loop. According to Jung, the human mind has multiple layers: the ego, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious. But among them, the most powerful and unsettling is the shadow. Your shadow holds everything you do not want to admit: your anger, jealousy, insecurities, fears, selfish impulses. But also, paradoxically, your untapped strength, your ambition, your raw creative power. And true discipline? It is not about external control. It is an act of bravery from within. Each time you wake up early, stick to your schedule, or choose the difficult path over the easy one, you're facing your shadow head on. You're declaring, "I will not let what is hidden control who I am." But here is the hard truth. This confrontation is not easy. Jung said that becoming conscious always comes with pain. And this is why so many people avoid deep discipline, not because they are incapable, but because they are afraid of the discomfort it brings. Yet, that discomfort is essential, because every moment of undiscipline is not just a missed deadline or task. It is a signal from within that something is in conflict. And if you do not listen, that conflict grows louder. Have you ever sabotaged something you truly wanted? A job, a relationship, a goal you once dreamed of, and afterwards you could not explain why. That was your shadow acting out. Discipline is not about suppressing that side of you. It is about understanding and integrating it. Jung believed that real growth comes not from perfection, but from a process called individuation, the journey of becoming whole. And discipline is the backbone of that journey. Without it, we remain puppets of old wounds, unconscious beliefs, and inherited fears. We run loops that were programmed by our past. Discipline, in this context, becomes not just a habit, it becomes a path to freedom. Let me ask you this. What parts of yourself have you been avoiding? Which patterns keep showing up in your life, despite your best efforts to change? Share your thoughts in the comments because these questions matter more than any productivity tip ever will. Until you confront what you have been hiding from, discipline will always feel like a battle between the person you are and the one you're pretending to be. But here is the hope. You are not stuck. Jung had deep faith in the human capacity to transform, to grow, and to reclaim wholeness. It begins with one thing: taking complete responsibility. Discipline is not punishment. It is an act of care. It is how you show your inner world, especially the hurt, neglected parts, that you're strong enough to carry the weight of life. Every disciplined act is a message. I'm no longer living on autopilot. I'm choosing to lead myself. That is real power. This is not about becoming flawless. Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. That includes our weaknesses, our doubts, our contradictions. But in accepting them, we gain the strength to evolve." Now imagine this. What if you stopped waiting to feel ready? What if you acted anyway? What if discipline was not a heavy burden, but a doorway to freedom? In the next part of this video, we are going to examine why the modern world makes discipline harder than ever, and how Jung's work can help you take back control in a culture designed to keep you distracted. We will also uncover how early childhood experiences shaped your relationship with effort, value, and self-worth, and what you can do to rewrite those inner scripts. But remember, the final and most important insight is still coming. Do not miss it. In today's world, discipline is not just difficult, it is revolutionary. Back in Jung's time, distractions were present, but they were not engineered to hijack your focus. Today, every ping, every scroll, every algorithm is designed to pull you away from yourself. We live in a culture that worships speed and mocks stillness, that rewards indulgence and shames restraint. And in such an environment, choosing discipline becomes a radical act. You are swimming upstream, saying no to the easy, no to the temporary dopamine, and yes to something deeper. To keep making that choice, we have to understand Jung's idea of archetypes, universal characters hidden within the human psyche. And one stands out in the pursuit of discipline: the hero. The hero is not the one who wins every battle. It is the one who keeps stepping into fear, into discomfort, into uncertainty. That is what discipline really is. It is the hero within you saying, "I will carry the burden. I will walk through the storm." But here is the trap. Without awareness, we confuse comfort with peace. Skipping the task, avoiding the conversation, or postponing action feels good for a moment. But that short-term comfort becomes long-term pain. Jung warned that many psychological struggles, anxiety, depression, addiction, are forms of avoided suffering. In other words, if you dodge the necessary discipline of life, you end up suffering anyway, but without growth. Discipline is not about control. It is about meaningful suffering, the kind that leads somewhere, the kind that transforms. Let's go even deeper. Most of our battles with discipline did not begin with laziness. They began with old psychological wounds. If you grew up in a home where your needs were dismissed, where failure brought punishment, or where love was conditional on performance, then you likely internalized beliefs like, "I'm not enough." "It's safer not to try." These beliefs do not disappear. They hide in the background and guide your choices. So, when you procrastinate, it is not because you lack willpower. It is your inner world trying to protect you from rejection, from exhaustion, from shame. Jung's work becomes crucial here, because he did not just diagnose the problem. He showed us how to heal. His solution? Integration, not suppression, not denial, but conscious acceptance of the parts of us we have pushed away. Imagine you are trying to build a new habit. Waking up early, for example. You plan, you set the alarm, you prepare. But morning comes, and you hit snooze, again and again. Guilt creeps in. Jung would say, do not shame that behavior. Explore it. What part of you is resisting? Is it the part that believes effort will lead to failure, the part that remembers exhaustion, or the part that fears success might demand more than you can give? Every resistance holds a message, and discipline becomes easier, not through force, but through understanding. Once those inner conflicts are heard and integrated, you're no longer fighting yourself. You are leading yourself. Now, ask yourself honestly, when you avoid the very thing you claim to want, what are you protecting yourself from? What fear, belief, or wound is hiding beneath the surface? Leave a comment below. Your truth might help someone else unlock theirs. Now, for a truth that few dare to say, shame cannot sustain discipline. Much of modern motivation relies on shame. You are behind. Others are doing more. You are not enough. And sure, shame can push you for a while, but it burns you out. It fractures your inner peace. My father always told me, if you're going to do something, make it better. So let's honor that by making this message not just meaningful, but unforgettable. Carl Jung taught us that true healing doesn't begin by rejecting who we are. It starts when we embrace the parts of ourselves we've spent years trying to hide. The more we suppress our flaws, the deeper they sink into our unconscious, festering, waiting, growing. But something powerful happens when we bring compassion to those broken places. Their grip weakens, their control fades. This is the root of real discipline. Not fear, not guilt, but love. Love for the person you're becoming. Love for your future. Love for the younger version of you, the one who never learned how to trust their own potential. Let this settle deep into your heart. Every time you choose what's difficult, not because you feel ashamed, but because you care, you're rewriting the script of your inner world. You become someone dependable, someone capable of carrying responsibility, of holding power, of living with intention. That's the true reward of discipline. It's not about the achievements. It's about the transformation. It's about becoming someone who has found harmony within and chooses integrity, not because it's easy, but because it's essential. As we move forward, we'll explore how to bring these ideas into your daily life, with grounded, practical steps rooted in Jung's philosophy. We'll discover how to shape habits that reflect your truest self, not the demands of your ego, and we'll uncover how discipline, when fully understood, becomes far more than self-control. It becomes a sacred doorway, a spiritual initiation, but the most life-altering realization is still ahead, one that will change how you view your shadow and how you harness discipline, not just to succeed, but to evolve. Take a moment. Ask yourself something real. What if every act of discipline wasn't just a way to improve your life, but a sacred ritual of becoming who you were meant to be? What if each time you resisted the temptation of ease, each time you chose structure, progress, or accountability over comfort, you were performing a kind of internal alchemy? Jung didn't believe the purpose of life was happiness in the traditional sense. He believed our true aim was to become whole, and wholeness demands we face our contradictions. The tug-of-war between our highest hopes and our lowest habits. Discipline is the fire where that battle is transformed. Think about it. You want to become stronger, wiser, more grounded, but to do that, you must confront the very parts of yourself that keep you scattered or stuck. Not through brute force, not with punishment, but with unwavering honesty and consistent action. This is not a straight road. Jung, and later Joseph Campbell, described the hero's journey as a cycle. Again and again, you'll be asked to leave the safety of comfort. And again, you'll face your inner dragons: fear, doubt, failure, fatigue. And again, you'll stand at the same crossroad. Will I stay small, or will I step forward? Here's the paradox Jung uncovered. The dragon isn't your enemy. It is you. He wrote, "The treasure you seek lies in the cave you fear to enter." The discomfort, the procrastination, the fear of being seen or failing or not being good enough, those are the caves. And what waits inside is gold, clarity, strength, and purpose born from choosing discipline again and again. Modern psychology supports this ancient truth. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, reminds us, identity isn't claimed, it's built. Each time you honor a commitment, you vote for the kind of person you're becoming. That's the essence of Jung's concept of individuation. We don't find ourselves. We forge ourselves daily. But here's where most people fall. They quit when it doesn't feel fast enough, when progress isn't perfect. Jung would challenge that mindset. He knew the psyche resists sudden change. Like nature, our transformation moves in rhythms and seasons. Discipline, then, must become a rhythm too. Not a single heroic act, but a daily return to alignment. Still, many of us stumble. We self-sabotage. We lose track. Why? Because we live in a culture obsessed with surface. It praises results, but overlooks the inner scaffolding. It celebrates success, but forgets the silence and sweat it demands. So we compare ourselves to highlight reels, while our reality feels messy. But real discipline isn't about comparison. It's about alignment. When your values, your behavior, and your inner truth all point in the same direction, that's peace. Not the absence of problems, but the presence of order. And as Jung taught, order only comes when we face our internal chaos. So here's a powerful shift. Stop asking, "How can I be more disciplined?" Start asking, "What am I unwilling to feel?" Because every time you delay, distract, or give up, it's not laziness, it's protection. It's an unconscious attempt to stay safe. Safe from failure, from rejection, from effort that might not pay off. But you're not powerless anymore. You're no longer a child. You can feel the fear and still act. That is maturity. Discipline isn't the absence of feeling. It's the ability to move through feeling. It's saying, "Yes, I'm scared, and I'm still going forward." That's courage. That's real strength. One of Jung's most profound insights was this: where your fear lives, there is your task. Not just a to-do list item, but a soul task. What are you avoiding today? A conversation? A commitment? A creation? What version of yourself are you postponing because discomfort is louder than desire? Be honest. Ask yourself, if I were fully devoted to my highest self, what would I do today? Not tomorrow. Today. Write your answer in the comments. That simple act could ignite a breakthrough. Now we go deeper. Discipline isn't about becoming someone new. It's about shedding what isn't you, peeling off the layers of fear, conditioning, and pretense. Jung believed that the self, the complete you, already exists within. Discipline is how we return to it. Every time you say no to distraction and yes to focus, no to avoidance and yes to responsibility, you're not becoming someone else, you're coming home. That's why it feels so fulfilling afterward. Not because you checked a box, but because you acted in integrity. In this final part, we'll uncover Jung's most powerful teaching, the one that reframes discipline as a sacred process of self-actualization. True discipline isn't control, it's connection. It's the merging of your conscious goals with your unconscious wounds. You cannot master discipline if you're still at war with the parts of yourself that resist it. Here's the final revelation. Your resistance is not the enemy. It's a messenger. That voice telling you to sleep in, skip the workout, avoid the hard thing, it formed to protect you. From shame, from judgment, from failure. But if you continue to attack it, it will only fight harder. Instead, turn toward it. Ask, what are you trying to protect me from? That moment of compassion cracks something open. This is what Jung meant when he said, one does not become enlightened by imagining beings of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Real discipline isn't forced, it's invited. It's born from listening, not punishing, from aligning, not controlling, and it leads to something far more powerful than productivity. It leads to freedom, because when you understand your resistance, you stop battling it. You start healing it. You stop pushing through shame and start acting from clarity. Imagine waking up not in chaos or confusion, but with purpose. Not because you forced yourself, but because you finally understood yourself. That version of you isn't a dream. It's a direction, a path that opens when you stop performing discipline and start embodying it. Carl Jung believed our life's calling was to become whole. That path, called individuation, asks everything of us. It asks for pain, for honesty, for sacred discipline. The kind that doesn't just change your routines, it reshapes your identity. The kind that helps you choose silence over noise, values over trends, courage over avoidance, even when no one's watching. This discipline doesn't just build habits, it builds a self that no longer hides from life, but embraces it, a self that holds both the light and the shadow with equal reverence. Jung warned, what we don't face within, we project outward. We blame others for our struggles. We envy those who mirror our buried gifts. But when we take full ownership of our inner world, the external world begins to shift. That's why this isn't just motivational, it's transformational. Because now, you'll see discipline for what it really is, a conscious decision to lead yourself. Not to chase perfection, but to awaken. Not to dominate your mind, but to unite it. Each step taken in alignment with your truth is another stone laid on the path to your destiny. So ask yourself, right now, what's one act of discipline you can take today, not to prove anything, But to honor who you are becoming, write it, speak it. Let it signal to your unconscious, I am ready. And know this, you don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be fully prepared. You just need to begin. Because when you take that step, rooted not in shame but in self-respect, you walk the path Jung envisioned, a path of wholeness, a path of becoming. You weren't born to stay fragmented. You are here to integrate, to align, to awaken, and at its highest level, discipline is the bridge that takes you there. If this message stirred something in you, share it with someone who's ready to rise. Subscribe, like, and stay with us, because this journey has only just begun. And you've already taken the first step. Now, walk forward with courage, clarity, and conviction into the life that's waiting for you.